of white-collar employees spend countless hours in cubicle farms, deeply unfulfilled. Freedom and enjoyment come a tad too late and is marked by retirement. That's after 40 years of hard work. When the 4-hour work week came out 10 years back, it provided a radically different way of thinking. It got rave reviews, but then some said, that's BS. Some say it may work in parts, and a small following swear by it. I took out 7 powerful lessons from the book, which can positively alter your life. Are you interested? Hi, I'm Murali. I'm going to tell you a story that explains these 7 lessons. These 7 lessons represent the top 7 trends for 2020, and it's applicable to employees, to small businesses as well as large businesses. As you continue to grow, these are things that you should take note of. Help me keep this channel growing. You just need to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Tom and Harry were best friends at school and at play. As both passed out of college, both ended up taking up a sales gig for a locally successful business. Tom was the traditional but hard-working type. He put in the hours between 9 and 5. He sold textbook style during that time. Harry's temperament was very different. He figured out that if he got his clients between 8 and 8:30 in the morning and 6 and 6:30 in the evening, he could avoid the gatekeepers, the secretaries. So he managed to muster the same sales figures as Tom, but he worked 1/8 of the time. Over time, both Tom and Harry realized that it was time to move on from this local company. Tom joined an investment bank after his master's. Harry went down to set up his own local business with the knowledge he had picked up. Tom was paid $80,000 a year, but had to work 80 hours a week. He moved to New York, and the cost of living was very expensive. Harry's local business earned only $40,000 a year, but he had to put in only 25 hours a week into that business. He continued to live in the same town where Tom and Harry grew up. It was much cheaper in his local town. Besides, he was staying at home. Our natural instinct is to look at the salary figure and conclude that Tom earns twice as that of Harry, and he has a great visible job. Let's look closer, shall we? Tom was actually paid $27 an hour for his job, while Harry earned $33 for the job. The cost of living was higher in New York, so Tom was just meeting ends. Harry saved money because he was living at home. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here is don't look at the absolute results. Look at the relative differences when you can make choices. Both Tom and Harry were equally hardworking. Tom spent all his energy at the investment bank. Harry split his remaining 55 hours, which is the 80 hours that Tom used to work, minus the 25 that he was already working, for setting up new businesses. He also set out time for family and for leisure. So while Tom spent time building up another asset, which is his savings for his retirement, Harry spent his time setting up new businesses. Harry also took the occasional investment advice from Tom for saving money. Let's look at both their safety nets, shall we? For Tom, the safety net was his savings, but for Harry, that was his business. Tom would effectively retire with savings, but Harry would continue his business beyond his retirement years and leave a legacy for his children to follow. They could also encash that business at a point in time. Harry also used his relationship with Tom to invest wisely. There are 3 parts of the lesson here. Number 1, time can be a big player to improving the quality of your life, financially as well as personally. Number 2, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Harry kept investing in new investments and had new businesses to take care of. Number 3, take advice from friends who can help you make the right choices. Both Tom and Harry were in the business of acquiring customers. But Tom sold complex structured products at his firm. Harry, on the other hand, had simple businesses. He understood those businesses and made sure that those businesses can be easily understood. There was high demand in the marketplace for such businesses. They required very little of his time, had low startup costs, lower financial risks, and higher margins for the products. His thumb rule was that the product couldn't take more than $500 to test. The product had to be priced between $50 and $200. It needs to be automated within 4 weeks and didn't require more than a day per week to manage. According to Harry, it's better to be a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big one. Harry was mulling about business ideas all the time. Some of them that came to his mind were online retail or apparel, online music for creators, online education, and downloadable digital products with high margins. The reasons for that was that online as a business was growing in the marketplace. The lesson here is you can set up online businesses that would generate money with lesser effort from you. These online businesses could be structured in such a way that they have higher margins, they have more premium, and they're low investment products and make the P&L look good. Tom continued to stay in New York as he grew at work. Harry had set up his businesses on autopilot. Many of the local neighbors had moved to a nearby town. Harry really found that useful. So Harry rented out his home in the hometown and bought another property in the nearby town and moved in. It made sense because each of his businesses required very little of his personal time. The two lessons from here. Number one is that traditional jobs are weighed in terms of salary only. The cost of living starts to haunt people over time, like what it did to Tom with New York. The second lesson here is that automating effort and creating streams of passive income give you financial and locational freedom. Tom and Harry met for Thanksgiving. They started talking a little bit about work. Tom started, "My bank is automating quite a bit and sending a lot of work to India and China for back office." Harry quickly said, "Why?" Tom said, "People work while you sleep, and the cost per hour of expense was significantly less." So Harry initially got excited, but then he said, "I'm a small business, not like your bank." Tom said, "You don't have to be big. Even small businesses take up warehouses in cheaper locations. They outsource tech to small companies in locations like India and China. They buy cheaper stuff from Latin America and Vietnam with higher quality. You can do it too." That set Harry thinking. So he started thinking, what are the areas where my business could do likewise? In the process, Harry provided opportunities to neighboring small towns. He provided opportunities to a few firms in India and China to take advantage of the zone and the costs. That really helped his business. The lesson here is think outside the box. Keep what makes a difference in your business in-house. Take advantage of time zones so that people can work 24 hours and the cost per hour is significantly cheaper. Over the next 2 years, business became very tough. Tom had grown his firm but worked even longer hours. Harry managed different businesses but could do a lot of remote control. Harry and Tom met at a restaurant in New York on one of Harry's visits there. The discussion went into automation and the ability of their firms to manage margins with automation and slowing down future hires. For Harry, his financials, his business workflow, his calendar, mail, and businesses had all gone online. He had set up systems and processes that could be managed automatically with very little engagement. Tom's firm continued its progress to automate with the help of outsourcing. So what's the lesson here? The factory of the future will only have 2 employees, a man and a dog. The man will be there to feed the dog. The economic recession set in. Harry was affected too, but his different businesses and his cash reserves kept him comfortable. In fact, he was still mulling about a new business to start. Tom's firm was affected and so was Tom. Tom called Harry as soon as he got the bad news. Tom said, "Harry, I've just been laid off due to the recession. I don't know what to do." So Harry thought for a while and then said, "Tom, you've been working in investment banking all along. Why don't you advise your clients on prudent investments? You can start your own business." Tom said, "I would love to do that, Harry, but I haven't set up my own business before. So I'm hesitating. It's not just my firm, but the environment is bad." Harry said, "Tom, I can help you set up the business. I can become a partner by providing you with the know-how of how to set up businesses. I can also give you capital to get you started. You know investment banking very well. I can also introduce you to some of my friends to start the new business. That way you'll have a few clients. You could also get in touch with your old contacts and get them in as well." Tom paused for a while. Then he said, "That sounds good. I'll see you on Friday in town." And Tom felt much better after that conversation. The two lessons here. Uncertainty is certain. And number 2, think win-win. Good books don't age. They provide fresh perspective when you look at them as you mature in your own life. I read this book again after several years. I wouldn't agree with everything in the book, but I don't need to. If I take away core lessons to execute, I will come out wiser. These were my 7. What were yours? Do comment below. Help me keep this channel going. You just need to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I post every week. On the screen, you will find the links to my other videos. Somewhere here. Do take a look. See you guys in another video soon. Bye for now.